So today, on the day they released their 18th studio album, The Neon, we are joined by Andy Bell from the band to go through it, track by track. Hello.
Hello.
You're listening to Track by Track with me, Dan.
And me, Will. This is the podcast where we take a great pop music album and talk about it track by track. And today we're doing something very special.
Yes, on the turntable this week we have The Neon by Erasure, and we are thrilled to be joined today by Andy Bell from Erasure. Hello, Andy.
Hi there, how you doing?
We are good. It's great to have you on the line with us today on release day to talk about The Neon. How does it feel? I guess you've got a lot happening at the moment, but how does it feel to have a new album out today?
Yeah. I mean, this is for us. This is like really exciting. This is kind of the most exciting it's been for a long, long time. So, I don't know if it's because of lockdown or if it's because of the album. I mean, I kind of put it down to the album because we've managed to generate this kind of excitement, which we haven't had for quite a while, and I think it's just maybe the order that the tracks have been released in so far, 2 singles and one in between, and then the third Nerves of Steel single with the loads of the RuPaul Drag Race crew. So I think we've kind of managed to kind of get people's interests pricked up a bit, you know. Yeah, so it's very exciting, and I've seen posters on the street, which is unheard of.
But it's strange because there is definitely an excitement about it, but also what a strange time to be releasing a new album. What a strange sort of campaign you must be on compared to the other 17 studio albums. Is it? I think
it is really weird. Yeah, I do think Erasure are really weird, you know. I mean, for a start, the name's weird, you know, and it's kind of like. But I must admit, I've seen it more and more and more as we've had all these kind of like the BLM movements this year, and talk of indigenous populations being erased from the planet in Brazil and different places. I just see the name Erasure more and more and more, and I just think, well, it's quite. I don't know. It's quite bizarre because it was a very odd name for a band, really.
So the album itself, this was written before lockdown, wasn't it? Before the pandemic.
Yes, it was all. We'd written it in last year, probably. I think probably in about August, maybe July, August time. It was written, and then that was Vince's music in Brooklyn, and I went to see him, and as usual, we I just kind of grabbed the mic, start toasting top lines, and but this time it just seemed like something really special. I don't know why. It was just I wanted something that was kind of reminiscent of new wave, but just that kind of excitement of being a new record buyer, just that going into the record shop when you're 15, 16 years old and looking through, flicking through all the albums and stuff. And I just love that, I really miss that. But yeah, so anyway, it was, the whole thing was mixed in February, March in Bethnal Green by David Wrench. And Vince and I were here for that too. So, yeah, we managed to get it all done somehow just in time for the squeeze for when the lockdown happened. So it was very strange, We had it all done. And it was like this completely like over-the-top enthusiastic record. And then all of a sudden this thing happened, So for me, it's kind of quite, it seems quite alienish, the virus, COVID.
I think this album is definitely, it's been great to have the 3 tracks come out during lockdown and the pandemic, because I think just some great new pop music is what we need. And we talk a lot about new music as well as classic albums on this podcast, and I think we've been really enjoying anything that artists are releasing during this time, because they're continuing to release and it's giving everyone something to get excited about.
It's amazing, really. I think I mean, with lots of the stuff that I've been reading, it really feels like a renaissance for like loads of bands. And I don't know if it's specifically to do with lockdown, but I just think artists are kind of are a bit psychic. So it's not that you know what's going to happen, but you kind of like it's almost like your subconscious tells you that something's going to happen, or because I mean we didn't we had no idea when we were writing these songs, saying walk through the city feeling kind of lonely, wish for a lover's touch, and then want to sing hallelujah and stuff like that. Just I think that that's what happens to artists, I think.
And then the title, the neon, there's a bit of a meaning behind that as well, isn't there?
Well, that's, to me as well, that's like because when I'm doing lyrics, I always feel like I'm auto writing, which is a lot of those kind of spiritualists do that, in spiritualist churches and things. But for me, the neon that's evocative of that kind of like science fiction meets spirituality, and it just refers me back to the fairground when I was a kid, and like living in Peterborough. We had the East of England showground there, where not much happened apart from seeing loads of tractors, But one time they had the East of England Expo Steam Fair, which was like all the steam engines from all over the country converging on this one huge field, and it's like really amazing and intoxicating with just like all this fairground music mashed into one, and I'm not sure whether they had neon in those at that fairground, but at regular fairgrounds where they have the neon. I mean, where we did the photos was a place called God's Own Junkyard, and they are actually a fairground. They're a fairground family, so they're all the neon they have there is they're restoring it back to how it was in the first place. So it's kind of like for me, it felt like the whole thing's really magical, because you've got this gas trapped inside a tube, and the tube's already been bent into a shape, like creating a word, and then you pass electricity through the gas, and depending on the mixture of the gases, that's the color that comes out. And the fact that it was used for advertising, I mean, for me, it's I hate advertising, even though I love the poster being up in the street. But it's like just that constant advertising when you're online, in your face all the time. I think it's a bit like pollution, but neon is just a really soft, gentle way of doing it. I don't know.
Well, I think we'd agree that the aesthetic for the podcast online is based around neon signs. So we're big fans of that look. Definitely.
Yeah, great. Great.
The way you've just broken it down there, talking about how it actually comes about, that's kind of I'm seeing it in a new light now. That's
I mean,
really amazing.
Also the kind of like the pinks and the blues. They're the ones that I prefer.
You're going to absolutely love our logo because it's pink and blue. So it's sounds like a fantastic time to get stuck into the album. So let's kick off with side one, track one, and this is Hey Now, I Think I Got a Feeling.
I hear the beat back through my brain. I feel the pill back through my heart. There's not a mean streak in your bones. I gotta go right now. There's a sweetness in your eyes. You better take my good advice. You better keep away from them. I gotta go now.
That song reminds me of it was really strange because the Black Lives Matter all happened at the same time when the single was going to come out. We was in the beginning we were going to call it Walk Through the City Singing Hallelujah, and then we thought, well, it's a bit that's not really right on for what's going on. So we changed the title, but it kind of it kind of reminds me of, because it's saying destroyed all the rumours with a stick of war paint. That reminds me of like walking through the city with a red flare. You know those
Yes.
flares?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. So it is like a calling to arms kind of song. But at the same time, it's like it's about that instinctive feeling, you know, that you get being a songwriter, you know. And I mean, before we started the album, you know, I had lunch with Daniel Miller in London, and I said to him, oh, I've got this really strong feeling about this album. I don't know what it is. And I think that the Hey Now, think I've got a feeling is just an indicator.
We're huge fans of the sound, and this is on these tracks. Vince was using some of the older synths as well, wasn't he, to create the music, which you can really tell on this track particularly.
Yeah, he was. He writes in soft synth and then recreates the written pieces with analog synths. Yeah,
and you can just hear so much. It's just a perfect blend of kind of a classic Erasure, but a brand new sound as well. It does it wonderfully.
Yeah, it's weird because I was hoping for and wishing for, you know, when you've worked together for so long. I mean, it's quite easy for either of you to become complacent, you know. And I was just really hoping that Vince would kind of come up with some really fresh riffs. I mean, he does some amazing riffs. You know, sometimes there are songs of ours that I'm not too keen on. That, I mean, I get a bit over commercial, like on, say, one of our songs like Sunday Girl from Light at the End of the World. But the intro to that, I mean, the riffs intro to that song is incredible. It's like an ABBA song all on its own, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was kind of my wish, was just to have some kind of like really independent new wave riffs. And that's what we got. That's what he gave me, you know?
And it was great to see on the remix as well, to bring it right up to 2020. You've got Nimmo, Philip George remixing it, two really like currently quite hot sort of dance acts and producers.
I mean, to be honest as well, that was the record company's choices for those remixes. Neil Blanket, and you know, when I first heard them, I couldn't understand them. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't get my head around them. But then once I was drunk and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I listened, I was like, oh, now I get it. You know?
That's often what the remix is created for, isn't it? It's for the club, not for the kind of...
for the late night,
Yeah.
Let's move on to track 2, shall we? So this is Nerves of Steel.
You're the object of my affection, nerves of steel, turning my direction, my desire and my intention, yeah. You're the deal, world without limits, ours to steal, and everybody in it, come and find me in the motor hotel.
Nerves of Steel is my favourite track on the whole album, just because it reminds me of it's kind of like electro rock, and I can't wait to perform it live. I think it's one of our sort of best ever songs. It's kind of in the vein of You Surround Me, but you know, because it's got that sort of rip roaring chorus, I just can't wait to do it live. And yeah, I think it's just one of those songs that's been kind of waiting in the wings for a long time, you know.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because this, quite quickly, I'd say within a couple of listens, it became at the same time one of my favorite ever Erasure songs and one of my favorite songs of this year. It just, that perfect blend of
it's great.
There's the melancholy in there, but it's done with electronics, which Will and I are huge synth fans, and we often talk about how some people who don't like electronic music don't perceive that it can have feeling. And I think anyone who says that to me, I'm going to show them this song and say, just listen to this.
Right. Okay. The actual Motor Hotel is a real place in Atlanta, and it's a really trendy kind of hotel with a great cocktail bar where we went to, and then downstairs is the most sleaziest strip joint you can imagine.
Is that where the remix of Hey Now is playing down there?
Yeah.
And we've got to talk about the video, which is just it's brilliant. And like you mentioned earlier, all of the drag artists that are in there. But I love the visuals, the colours in it are incredible. It just like jumps out of the screen at you. Where did the idea for that come from?
I mean, I have to be totally honest as well. Again, that was Neil Blankett's idea. He's the A&R guy from Mute, and nothing was really mentioned about it. It kind of sprung up out of nowhere, and he said, well, we're going to get some drag queens in lockdown miming to the song, and if he'd have said to me, or come along and said, oh, we're going to do this, do you think this is a good idea? I think I might have shied away from it a bit. So I'm just, my hat goes off to Neil for doing that, because I mean, it looks amazing and the colours are incredible, as you say. And Brad Hammer, the producer, I think they all did an amazing job, and I'm really grateful to them for the because it really hypes up the song.
Definitely. And I just think as well with, Erasure's long-standing relationship with the LGBTQ plus community, with the buzz and excitement around this album, and then to have a music video like this as well, it's just fantastic to keep that message alive, I suppose. Yeah.
It's funny because we've always like dabbled in drag, but we kind of dabbled quite badly, me and Vince, because we're sort of ugly drag queens, really. So it's really nice to have like these people at the pinnacle of their beauty, like doing this video for us,
I thought you looked wonderful in the Aberasque videos, but maybe that's just me.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I think because it was comedy, that's probably why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was brought up on drag. I mean, drag's my, in London, when I first moved to London, as I was just joining Erasure, I would go to all the drag pubs around the town and just pick up my, I mean, the way they deal with hecklers and things was really good. They just kind of gave me that bravado that you needed for stage.
Yeah, quite terrifying sometimes. Let's move on to track 3 now. So let's hear a little bit of Fallen Angel.
You gotta get 'em, you gotta do it, you gotta get 'em, do it. Ride on top of the roller coaster, walk up the down escalator. I've tried all of the things that give me love. Fly like a fallen angel, love just like it said.
I mean, Vince came down to Atlanta with the vocals, because we were getting towards the end then on this track, and I mean, this kind of like reminds me of like Human League crossed with Jane Wielding or something. We were because we did the vocals in Atlanta, it just felt like, because I mean, I've co-written a track with Kate Pearson from the BBC, but never came out. It never came out. But I think she might be working on it with Chris Braid. I'm not sure. But anyway, I think just being in Atlanta and knowing that the town where they come from is not that far, is it? What's it called again? REM and B-52s.
Georgia. No, Athens, Georgia. Yeah.
Yeah, Athens. Yeah. So just knowing that was up the road, and there's so many young bands there. There's such a young scene there. It just made you feel young, and it made me feel like, I think one big thing as well about the Neon is it sounds like a band.
Yes, it does.
Just the name the Neon sounds like a band. So I think it's been quite clever in where they've kind of shrunk the name Erasure in places and just put the Neon, so it looks like it's a brand new band with a brand new album. And that's really how we wanted it to sound. Like, we wanted it to sound like it could be a brand new duo or a brand new band. For the people who haven't heard of Erasure, here's a brand new band called the Neon.
Well, when you look at the thumbnail of the album cover online, you can actually see the Neon, but you can't actually see Erasure. So that's what jumps out at you. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I think before anyone else steals that name, the Neon, Will, you and I should register us as the band called the Neon.
It's a great name for a band. It's too good not to do something with.
Andy, we might need some help in actually making the music, if that's okay.
And
Okay,
and
yeah.
learning how to sing.
Yeah. This song, though, it's such... I was listening to this earlier on the tube, and I could almost see a crowd, a sea of faces listening to this one. It feels like a real fan anthem. And it's the upliftingness, and also the chorus talking about escalators and roller coasters. It just feels like I would hope that this is on the set list when you do get to tour.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you want to do it. It makes you feel like you want to run up the escalator.
Yeah.
Up the down escalator. Yeah, it makes you feel like you want to do it. It was quite funny because when we I just like worked roughly on the lyrics, and then when Vince came over, because that first chorus I said I was so far up myself, and he said, "No, you can't say that." That's like, you know. So he goes, "Why don't you say I was so far off of myself?" I said, "Oh, okay then. Yeah, let's do that."
So, shall we move on now to track number 4? And let's hear a little bit of No Point in Tripping.
Ain't no point in tripping, it's only good for tricking the minds. I'm about to reach you, it's all about perception and time. Baby, come on, you're the one I need. Baby, hang on, you make me believe.
So, No Point in Tripping there. Andy, that's my favourite track, I have to say. And again, it's the
Wow.
chorus
Yeah.
that gets me every time. It's really euphoric when you get up there.
I mean, for me, it's sort of like reminds me of Yazoo on the verse, and then Scissor Sisters on the chorus.
Oh, yeah. Two of our favourites again.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't. To be honest, I don't really know what it's about. This song, it's kind of like more like I don't know, just sounds like a punch bag love song, really, which I know is not very good.
There's,
Not a very good thing to say.
you know, sometimes people need them.
I love the phrase punch bag
Yeah.
love song. There's a song title in itself there.
Oh yeah,
I love the real playfulness, the lyrics on this one with the "ain't no point in tripping, only good for tricking the mind." I love that line.
yeah. I mean, it's true though. It's pointless, really. You know, it doesn't matter. You know how much you love getting off your face. It's in the end, it's all the same. It's just the same experience every time. So,
And there's a bit of a sort of juxtaposition between it's very immediate, the music and the vocal at the beginning, very, very immediate. And then that chorus comes in, as you said, which is much poppier, and also fantastic to hear your falsetto there as well.
yeah, I think it's straightforward pop, that one.
Which we love.
Yeah.
So let's have a little listen to the next one. This is, of course, we've heard this one on the radio. This is Shot a Satellite.
You know you gotta feel it, and then you gotta feel it. We go around and around and around. There's gonna be a riot. I ain't gonna keep quiet. Oh, you really have to show it. Oh, you go around and around and around. You know you gotta know it.
So Shot a Satellite there. That, of course, was the second track unveiled from the collection as well, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Shot a Satellite. I mean, it was quite tricky for us with picking the first single, you know. But I did think they made the right choice with Hey Now. But you know, quite a few of the fans said, oh, they preferred this one, the Shot a Satellite one. I don't know. I think maybe it's because it was more immediate. I'm not sure, but it's. I said to Vince in the studio in Brooklyn, have you been listening to Lady Gaga, Vince? And he said no. I said, can you swear that you haven't been listening to her? He said, yes, I'll swear. I said, good, because I don't want to have a lawsuit from Lady Gaga, you know, because this was I think it was written towards the end of the session, but as soon as when I heard that intro riff, I was just like, wow, and it just made me want to let myself go on the chorus, and that's what happened, and just the I'm not sure where Shot a Satellite came from, but it kind of reminds me of I want to lasso you with my rubber band laser from Klaus Nomi.
Yeah.
It's a great, and I love, and Will and I spoke about this before, and again, it's like you said before about going to the record shop. I love looking at the back of the cover and looking at the titles and just being so intrigued by just the title. And this song did this for me before I'd even heard it.
I thought, well, I mean, they probably will have like a Space Invaders game with shooting satellites out of the sky. I'm sure they do, don't they?
I'm sure.
Well, they've done it anyway, haven't they? In real life, they've done it.
Well, yeah, actually, it's like many things this year that have just kind of things that have been in TV, films, and games have just happened for real. You couldn't make it up anymore.
No, you can't make it up. No. You can't make anything up anymore because it's all been done.
Yeah,
everything.
It's musically though, it's just wonderful. That initial, I almost felt it was quite sort of Kraftwerky and that quite robotic introduction.
Yes.
But then the O's that repeated throughout kind of give it give it a bit of humanity, I suppose.
Yeah, I love all those. I love all those things. That's what really reminds me of. I'm not sure which song's next, but on Diamond Lies, it's kind of that's what we do with a lot of these songs is wrote the backing vocals into the song.
Okay.
Because usually we'll write the just the top line melody, and then I'll kind of come up with the backing vocals after we've done the lead, But this time we almost wrote the backing vocals as well as part of the song, and I think that's a lot what the Eurythmics used to do.
Okay.
I think I don't know. But I'm just guessing.
I'm sure it's a very educated guess, though. Will and I often come up with all sorts of theories. It's actually incredible to hear that that's not a normal thing to write in the backing vocals, but obviously it's done here. We're huge pop music fans. But we're not musicians ourselves, as we often like to remind listeners.
Well, you don't have to be.
No, we share our passion of pop music. That's what this podcast's all about.
So let's move into track number 6 now, which is Tower of Love.
Said yourself you shouldn't be there. No society couldn't cut your way through roses. See the wood for trees. Said your love would give you nightmares. Walls are closing in to see above the parapets to realize your dreams.
So that was a little bit of Tower of Love there.
I think it sounds like the one odd track that is a bit out of place on the album, but it's kind of because I think it could be that song could be in an Erasure musical. That song, it's kind of like it's almost on its own. But a friend of mine, she asked if I would write a song about her, so it's kind of loosely based on her. Yeah, but as I say, and it refers to the tower and the tarot cards, which is it's kind of, it doesn't mean it's not a bad card, but it's a card of when you have to kind of relinquish things in your life, or it's literally the Tower of Babel. When the tower comes crashing down, and it starts from you have to start from scratch all over again. So it's kind of about renewal, really. But that song's written in a fairy tale kind of way.
It definitely felt like that. Definitely felt dramatic, and as you said, it felt quite, I suppose, almost theatrical, as you said. It could work in a musical or something like that. They had the story of waiting for a prince to come and things like that.
Yeah. I'm not sure where it came from, that one, because I think out of all the tracks on the album, that's probably the bleakest one.
And do you find yourself, because obviously yourself and Vince have projects on the go outside of Erasure as well, do they influence the work you do together, or is it two very separate things?
No, they definitely do influence them, you know, and I have to be quite careful because I find myself using lines from like Torsten, this character that I played, you know, but I did play all the stuff to Barney, you know. We do have these really deep conversations. He's the guy that wrote the character of Torsten, Barney Ashton Bullock, and yeah, I played him because when you see the crack of sunlight run straight through the door, one of the songs on Torsten is about this vase that becomes cracked and the light comes through the cracks of the vase, you know. So you do have to be careful. I have to be careful, but that's how you develop your characters, you know, and that's how how your ideas come to fruition, really, you know, is by working with other people and doing other things, you know.
Yeah.
And is Erasure the musical something that you've ever thought about?
For myself, not Erasure the musical, because I don't really like jukebox musicals, but there is a musical in progress, which is called Odomore, the musical, which was supposedly, I've seen it once, which is through the HIV crisis in the 1990s. That's where it's set, you know, and but it's with all young people playing the parts that are really amazing. So they're I think they're starting one of those campaigns afterwards to raise money.
Oh, a crowdfunder.
Again, those. Yeah, crowdfunder. Yeah, I think once the album's out of the way, I think they're starting a crowdfunder. But it's nothing to do with us. We just gave them permission to use the songs. Yeah,
I think still Will and I would like to go and see that, so we'll definitely keep our eyes peeled for that. So let's have a little bit of the next track on the album then, and this one is Diamond Lies.
You wanna be there, take a placebo, square in the circle. Oh, what does she know? Living every second as if it were the last. We could go up anytime, 'cause life is a blast. I got a few moves, I dance like you do. Chew it up and spit it out, start over again. Hang on for dear life.
There's Diamond Lies there.
Diamond Lies. Yeah, it's a bit of a mishmash of a song, and it does remind me of Love Is a Stranger, which is my most favourite Eurythmics song. And but the subject matter is a bit cruel, I think. It's a bit it's kind of at the same time as slagging off an ex. It's sort of like alluding to the just the illusion of fame, and kind of like, but it's all a load of nonsense and a load of crap, you know? Yeah. And all this kind of like golden ticket and trying to get into the golden circle and all this, you know, paying extra for like a bit of bump with a signature on it is, you know, that's what that song's about mainly. It's just the illusion of fame, and at the same time this notoriety of this person that keeps turning up over and over again, that you don't want to necessarily see them. You know? Yeah. Yeah.
And is that based on someone specific?
No, I couldn't say that. No.
No. We'll all have our own ideas about that.
Okay.
It's great. I love the opening to it. It's kind of quite stark, just the synth, and the vocal there. It's you know, it's very electronic, but it's quite stark. Yeah. As well.
I quite like that. I like that way that the on a couple of the tracks, it's just the lead melody and the lead synths playing the same melody. You know, it's just I quite like that. It's just like doubling each other.
And again, another one that if I saw the record in the shop and turned it around and saw this title, Diamond Lies, this is definitely one of the ones that I thought I want to know what that song's about.
Well, I have to say, in the beginning it was called Goddamned Lies. And the vocal producer, Ben Allen, said, why don't you try and choose something more descriptive? So we came up with the word diamond.
I love these little tidbits.
Yeah. Well, it's all little hints and clues, you see.
Yeah, I got a scavenger hunt or something.
So let's move on to track number 8 now. This is New Horizons.
You're my savior. the stone. Like the sea upon the shore, the tides are changing, and the struggle we've been through comes to an end. And to see upon your face the doubts are fading. It's coming in.
So that was New Horizons. A real change in sound with that one.
Yeah, that's. I suppose that's the most acoustic sounding song on the whole album because of the piano synth, and also it's our most the barest track on there. And yeah, it's. I mean, it's basically a ballad, ballad of wistful, kind of like looking out onto the sea or the river or whatever. Just. I think really about missing somebody, and but knowing that it's kind of time to let go, I suppose. Yeah.
And do those songs, would that come together in the same way? Would Vince have had that melody and that piano sound already, or do these slower songs come together differently?
Yeah, he had the piano sound. I mean, I think the whole song was as one music wise. Yeah, and then we just start. When I'm singing, it's not necessarily always the original melody that I came up with, but we kind of we might try something maybe 3 or 4 times, like for a section, and then choose what we think is the best out of those 4, I suppose, and then glue them together, so to speak. But sometimes, the best ones just come out all at once.
And I love where this track is placed in the album as well. So it's just sort of track 8 there, and just just a good time to slow things down, but not right at the end of the album. So
it's like a little breather.
Yeah. Kind of like when you go to a gig and just before you get into the kind of the build, the climax and the encore, you've got something which just brings it down a bit and kind of gives everyone some time to reflect and
it's just to smell the roses, that song. Put your feet up and have a cup of tea and like clip your roses or whatever.
And when you were putting this album together last year, then I suppose, did you envisage taking it out on tour around the time of release?
Yes, I mean we were all the dates were there. We had all the dates, and of course that was everything cancelled. Of course it's all pending on reopening and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's move on to track number 9, and this is Careful What I Try to Do.
I'm a cynic, yeah, but I would die for you. You said it by the feel upon your face. I'm never gonna call out what you say. I look shattered by the pool. You never were defeated by a fool. Wear each other, beat about the place. All we gotta do is seize the day. You're everywhere. Take me now. Beautiful.
So that was Careful What I Try to Do. A bit more melancholy, it feels, that one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, that film, I was going to say, that song, it's about my Stephen, really, and just like the fortuitousness of meeting him. And, he really looked after me. And there were some extra verses at the end about him leading me through the club and having a private dance, but Vince took it off that bit. But it was funny because his sister came down. She's called Stephanie, his sister, and we were in the studio and we played that song, and she turned around to like him and she goes, "Oh, you make me sick," because of my wishy-washy romanticism towards him, but it's just it kind of reminded me more of like a CeeLo Green New Order type song. But it was nearly missed off the album. I had to remind the guys. I said, "Hey guys, what about this?" Because in the original title was The End. I said, "Hey, we've got to do the end. We've got to include the end." And then once they played it and they heard it, they said, "Oh yeah, yeah." They'd forgotten about it because I think there were 16 songs in all that we finished.
So what didn't of like the 16 tracks? Is there anything that
Yeah.
you think, oh, I wish that was on there, or I can't wait to maybe get that there
well,
as a B-side or something?
Yeah, there's only a couple of those ones. One was called Time. That nearly made it on there, but it's all sang in falsetto, so it's quite hard, that one. And then also there's another track. How's it go on the chorus? It's hearts full of love. Yeah, I can't remember.
Well, we'll look forward to maybe in 10 years' time the deluxe anniversary edition and getting that on there.
Yeah.
And I also definitely want to hear the extended version of "Careful What I Try to Do" and those extra verses as well.
Oh, right. Well, I hope they kept those endings. I mean, we had double tracked the whole thing, the album, but Vince thought it sounded too poppy, so we took all the doubles off and made it solo lead vocals.
I do have to say as well, the synths on this one I really love, because there's just kind of lots of little effects dropped into that intro. It's just different noises and things going on that you just kind of little synth stabs and things like that. It's really great to pick them out.
Yeah, I mean, on that song as well, we really did meet in a nightclub. You know, I met my partner in a nightclub, but he was the owner of the club. So, and I was doing a PA at the club. So that's how that songs came out.
So
as I say, it's quite pop starry, because you don't get many songs saying I look so tired by the pool.
We aspire to that.
Exhausting.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the last track on the album now. So this is "Kid, You're Not Alone."
What a charming lesson learned tonight. I can feel the presence of the future calling out to me. Take away the fear in me tonight.
Yeah, "Kids You're Not Alone." It's a lovely song. It's one of those again where the melody just came out, and it was that kind of I suppose Justin Timberlake sort of "Cry Me a River" type song, and the subject matter was really because Vince's son came down with us in Atlanta to stay, and I just imagined what it must be like to have a son, because I don't have children, so just what it must be like the advice that you have to give them, and you know that they're going to hurt themselves, but there's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is kind of tell them everything's going to be all right, and they probably won't believe you, but it's just that it's that really, all that stuff that I suppose I miss not being a parent, but we've got our dog instead.
Oh, a furry baby.
Yeah, we've got a furry baby.
Yeah.
And what breed is he?
He's a Doberman, a red Doberman. Yeah, he's lovely. Angel baby.
Well, Will and I, separately, I should add, are both not having children either, but both looking forward to getting our own dogs, hopefully soon.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Sometime.
Yeah.
Get a rescue dog.
Yes, definitely should.
Yeah.
Andy, before we finish up, just a quick question around, I guess, what are you listening to? What are you into at the moment? What music are you enjoying?
Which music am I enjoying? That's a really tough question, because I don't really necessarily listen to anything new. I always go on. I mean, I love Bad Taste. I love really Bad Taste. So the other day, my friend sent me a version of "Call Me," which was Samantha Fox and Sandra together.
Okay.
And then also there's a fantastic mix that Stephen found, which is "Heart of Glass," Debbie Harry vocals by Philip Glass. Yeah, which is beautiful. Honestly, it's a really beautiful version. So yeah, I always look out for those kind of things, like really weird mixes and things like that. I'm always trying to think of mixes myself that go together really well. Which one was a a 12-inch version of SOS by ABBA, but it was I mixed in I Feel Love, but it was from the version from the Gucci advert with just with the whole choir singing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, can we hear this anywhere? That sounds so far up our street.
I need to get it like balanced really properly first, but yeah.
Oh, God, would love to hear that, and love hearing you talk about ABBA as well. Of course, from way back with the ABBA-esque EP, but we are big ABBA fans as well. So it's
lovely. I mean, we did. Well, I did ABBA myself out with that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. With the whole project, it just ABBA'd myself out. You know, I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
You've kind of completely worked it out of your system through the project.
Yeah, it did. It honestly did. You know, I had to like not listen to ABBA for like 20 years.
Oh wow. So that brings us to the end of the Neon. Thank you so much for joining us and taking us through it track by track. It's so fascinating to hear some of the insights to the tracks.
Well, you're welcome. I know it's really weird, you know, trying to explain about songs, and it kind of feels a bit superficial sometimes, but
Oh, it's been brilliant. We love the kind of the thought process that goes into how tracks come together in the writing, production, and like the song titles we talked about as well.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, we hope you enjoy listening to The Neon, which is available everywhere from today.
Yeah, do let us know your thoughts at Track by Track UK. And of course, ratings on Apple Podcasts are always welcomed.
And do join us tomorrow. We've got another episode of our new music drop discussing our favourite tracks that are available right now, as well as The Neon, which is available right now.
So thank you again, Andy. And until next time, I've been Dan.
I've been Will.
I've been Andy Bell from Erasure. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Andy.